Hi! So our video is about what developmentally appropriate practice looks like in a classroom.
Okay, there are the three components of developmentally appropriate practice. They're age appropriateness, individual appropriateness, and appropriateness to the social and cultural context. And our text, the part we read, was also about cultural context and how children each come from a different culture, and that culture influences how they interact with people in the classroom. And how just because a child doesn't make eye contact with you doesn't mean they're being disrespectful, it just is a cultural difference that they have.
Yeah, and in addition, if we know the cultural context and the background of the children that we're teaching, it helps us be able to know how to pull those things into our teaching strategies and into our instruction. It helps contextualize things for the students and makes it easier for them to relate to content and to learn things easier. Okay, so DAP means that we need to meet children where they are and then use teaching strategies to help them reach their goals. And so as children are engaged, the video talks about how they needed to be joyful at the same time. So we're just going to kind of role play a little video that was in our video about a teacher and a little 18-month-old baby. And they were playing on a drum. There was like a little drum. So behold, the drum of dreams. The ground. So I'm the teacher in this video and Hannah is the 18-month-old child. And so basically what happened was they had a drum and the teacher just kind of tested the waters a little bit, just kind of drummed, and then watched as the baby repeated what the teacher did. So in this video, the teacher recognized where the child was and recognized that the child could repeat the action, and figured out that if she mimics the child would in turn keep hitting the drum. And so the teacher saw where the child was and then used that information to help the child achieve more goals. So being able to repeat what the teacher was doing.
And so DAP also means giving each child what they need because each child is different. And in that particular video, the teacher realized that the child needed her to get on her level in order for her to imitate. And then there's also a video about a child who decided she wanted to sit outside the group. And so the teacher talked to her a little bit and tried to engage her in what was going on, but then allowed her to stay outside the group because that's what she needed at the moment. And but the student still participated outside the group.
So the teacher recognized that the student wasn't ready to participate and to join the group. The child definitely participated in the group, just outside the circle.
Okay, and so the teacher also needs to know where the child is, but also where they plan on going with the child. And so this teacher she wanted to work on blend sounds, but she worked on single sounds first, and so she would write the letter A and have the children make the sound. And then as she progressed and she realized the children had a basic understanding, she would do blend sounds, and she would put a TH on the board and ask the children what the sounds of those two letters made together. And then she would ask them what words start with those letters or have those sounds in them so they could better comprehend what was happening.
Yep, so there are just some considerations that some teachers talked about when implementing developmentally appropriate practice. And the first is that the triad, so this backwards thing that I wrote, 3 core considerations of DAP, it allows for a fuller look at the child. They also talk about how even 2 children need differences in an activity. So you have to make sure that you're catering to the individual needs of each student in your classroom because you can't just generalize curriculum. And then the last one is that things need to be intentional, and there needs to be a well-crafted goal or objective that are being monitored and then that you're adjusting to as you go along. So just in closing and as a little review, for things to be developmentally appropriate in the classroom, it needs to be age appropriate, the things we're teaching. We need to make sure that our students are actually developmentally able to learn those things. It needs to be appropriate for the individual, and it needs to meet their needs as an individual.
It also needs to be culturally relevant to the child because each child has an individual culture. Their culture comes from both their families and their communities, and it's intermixed. And in order to be able to know about the culture of our children, we need to be curious about the children's lives and what they're interested in and what they're doing.
Go DAP!